Hi everybody, I'm Owen and these are my Lego shelves. It's the big one today, the really big one. Yes, I've had to remove shelves because this Death Star needed a lot of space. So, a little bit of a review for you today. I'll also put, I'll probably just talk over the top of all the pictures that I took as I was building it, because actually that's probably one of the most interesting things about it is the stories that you see as you build this behemoth. So let's start by talking about the fact that it's not a sphere. I've mentioned it before. I think it's great. I think this slice through the Death Star is brilliant because ultimately a big Lego ball is an impressive feat of Lego, but does it make for an interesting or structurally sound display piece? Not really. Like, if I think about sort of slightly older Star Wars models like the Millennium Falcon, you end up with a slightly rickety build, and thinking about the globe or something like that, I would always be slightly concerned that you've got a lot of plates there for not a lot of value, particularly if you want to display it. This obviously is big enough already without it coming out to here, or even worse, in all three directions, right? So I'm a big fan of this. I'm a big fan of the fact that it's leaning into it as a display piece, as actually we want to see all the little stories. And I think for me, building it, I sort of had this realization that Lego is almost like a cartoon, right? This Star Wars piece is not going to be for all Star Wars fans. I certainly know a few people who are very technical in how they love Star Wars. They want the perfection, even in their Lego builds, of exact scaling and exact correct numbers of all sorts of things. That's not really what this is. This is the love of the story. This is the love of the fun. And Lego Star Wars is almost now a thing in its own right, which is very obvious in building this, for reasons I'll get onto a little bit later. But we've got all the different sort of key elements from the Death Star story, though a bit mixed as to which Death Star we're actually talking about here, because we've got Trash Compactor down here, but we've got the Emperor fighting Luke with, Vader and the Emperor fighting Luke up the top there, with Luke with his black gloved hand. So clearly Return of the Jedi rather than Star Wars. We've got all sorts of bits and pieces. If you look, I don't know whether you can see it on the camera, but down here on the sign, we've got Director Krennic and Ursa as well. So the designer of the Death Star and the Imperial officer, naval officer, who sort of oversaw the whole project before sort of Grand Moff Tarkin claimed it as his own. So there's lots of kind of lovely little Star Wars Easter eggs like that. But obviously it's a sort of almost jokey kind of look at the inside of the Death Star. It's got all the stories, it's got the look, but it hasn't got the precision that some Star Wars fans might really, really like. So I don't think it's for everybody. Personally, I really liked it. I really like how it does that storytelling rather than that level of precision that people might crave. Obviously, scale-wise, it's never going to work in Lego, so they've lent into that in quite an excellent way. Whereas if you compare it to some of the more recent Star Wars spaceships, particularly the smaller scale ones, they just look exactly right, or as right as you could possibly get in Lego. So it's a sort of very different thing. And obviously there's a huge popularity with the Star Wars Lego video games as well, with the Skywalker saga in particular most recently, but there have been a lot. So I think that they've kind of accepted that as part of the canon here, and that's very clear when you look at the Easter eggs and the things like that. Because I'm not going to do it now because it's ridiculous to move this around, but you can see it on the footage I'll put on in a minute. But in the back, if you look at from the back, there's one of the mini kits that you have to collect in the video game, which is a really nice little touch, as well as a pile of studs, which is what they use as currency in that game. And most crucially, right up the top, there is a stormtrooper in his little board shorts in a hot tub, which is a thing you kind of bluster into as part of the video game. It's quite a fun moment in the video game, but it's quite silly, which again, I don't think necessarily appeals to all Star Wars fans, that level of kind of almost self-ridicule that Lego does really, really well if you like it, but I could understand why some people might not think it was their cup of tea. I think it's quite a lot of fun. Though my kind of one concern with that is it's one of the last parts of the build, because it's right up here in the room round the back. It's hidden away, you can't see it, but it's one of the last things you build just before you build the shuttlecraft, the Lambda craft. And for me, I was quite happy with it, but I could see why you wouldn't want that as your last piece of the build. I would be more inclined to think this throne room, which was right near the end of the build, but that throne room is a great kind of lasting effect of very visual. You can't see it from down here, I don't suppose, but all the kind of pipe work is very good for the kind of movie accurate, or sort of at least the same feeling you get from the movie. So I question kind of why you would choose to do that as one of your final things, because not everybody's a video game player, not everybody's played the Star Wars Lego video games. It's quite niche. And I think particularly, with something so expensive, do you want to limit your market like that? Or is that slightly foolish? The other thing that I would say about that, it links to one of my other sort of slight quibbles, and I think I'm going to talk about this separately, with the gift with purchase idea that Lego have, which I've always really liked, but with their bigger sets recently, they've tied it in quite oddly to very specific things. So in this build, if you bought it really early on, right when it was released, you got a TIE fighter and a hanger for the TIE fighter to hang, and I think it hangs sort of somewhere over here. But it seems odd to me to not include that as part of the actual build, because if it's worth having, surely we all deserve it. Don't make me rush a purchase of this magnitude just to get this one little extra bit. And some of the gift with purchase recently, I've thought, well, isn't the set slightly incomplete without that? But also, I'm not somebody who's going to rush into a purchase. I just don't have that free money to kind of throw at things. So I wondered whether actually a more sensible gift with purchase would be that little guy in the hot tub that's right up the top. Let him be the gift with purchase. That's a lot of fun. People are still going to go for that because it is a lot of fun. He is an exclusive minifig. So maybe that would have been a more sensible thing. And let us all have the TIE Fighter. Personally, with the TIE Fighter, I think that I might try to build it anyway. Maybe I'll use Pick a Brick and try and get the pieces from Lego Online and build it that way, because I think I'd like to see what it looks like, and it feels like an addition to the set that I would like. So let's get into talking a bit more about the build itself. The actual structure of the build I thought was really clever, because I think that you can see how much black there is, how much grey there is. The lift shaft and the lift doors are a repeat. Oh, sorry, mate. Just waiting for the lift. But they're spaced through the build. The structure itself, you get to really nicely interspersed actually some quite interesting structural Lego with, I'm building a fun scene that I know and I love, and there's a lot of joy to be gained from that back and forth between those two styles of build, and the minifigs and things like that, which are a big part of this set. Obviously there's a huge number of them. There's a few little bits of playability in terms of the action, but most of the playability comes from just being able to move the pieces around and choose which scene you're going to set up. I think Reese and I went through this morning and tried to set this up in the way we wanted, but there was quite a lot of discussion about where do you want Obi-Wan? Which part of the story do you want Obi-Wan to be enacting? Because one of my favourite bits, in fact, of the build is the very lovely turning off of the tractor field from the first film. You've got the two guys over there, you're having a bit of a chat, and Obi-Wan distracting them so that he can power it down. Really nice. But there was also the suggestion, well, it'd be nice to have him having a lightsaber fight with Darth Vader, or even just leaving his cloak on the floor somewhere for sort of the end of that scene. Likewise, Princess Leia, I really quite fancied, I don't know whether you'll be able to see it, but you can have this little swing going across here. So we had to choose between putting her on the swing with Luke up there. Oh no, I've knocked the Emperor over. I'm going to get in trouble. So you could have put it with Luke. We decided that actually her escape from the prison block was even more valuable. I'll show you this a little bit more closely perhaps. With especially because actually if you push her through that hole, she does actually go all the way down and end up in the trash compactor down here, where we've got Luke and Han Solo in their Stormtrooper uniform along with Chewie. But again, question of where they were going to be as well. I think we ended up with C-3PO over here in the room that he and R2 get locked into. I think he's got Han Solo in there with him as well. Yep, he has. Vader is a tough one again because you've got his battle scenes up the top, you've got his meditation chamber here, and you've got the lovely meeting where you first see him using the Force choke up here. So there's a lot of kind of playability and moving around. The trash compactor closes, opens and shuts. I can't really reach it from here, but there's a little dial on the back which moves the walls together, which is quite cool. The lift has got a little dial at the top, which moves the lift shaft up and down. The Lambda class is totally free, so you can take that out, which is a really nice little extra build because it really does look brilliant there. With the only downside of having that there is it does hide away the view screen at the back, or rather this view of space at the back, which is really nice, and a lot of black, but it was actually quite nice and easy to build, so that was a lot of fun. The laser itself, I had to lose a part of the laser to fit it on these shelves, so which is unfortunate, but just put this back down. Unfortunate to have to lose that, but I don't think it detracts particularly from the look. Like I say, it's not going to stay here permanently, but it's certainly here for the time being. Because yeah, it's a bit of a waste in terms of the space. I've got a couple of other excellent places where it will fit nicely, but I think that you, the viewers, deserve to see it for a little bit and have it in the background. Obviously K2SO's had to move from that because he was up there before, but actually this will either fit nicely up there above you, behind you, this is my desk, so there's a big space up there which I think it will fit nicely into, or I think it might be big enough and excellent enough that I want it somewhere where everybody can see it, everybody can enjoy it. My kids love playing with it, so I think there might be a spot I can put it in the lounge, which would give me obviously the shelf space back in here, but for now it's there. There's the Emperor. I'm not going to manage to balance him, am I? I think Reese decided that the best, most iconic moment for Darth Vader was actually that moment where he's standing very still behind the Emperor, as the Emperor is, no, I'm not going to be able to balance it, is lightning Luke. So that's the one we've set up at the top there. But yeah, some really excellent bits and pieces, some lovely builds. There are bits that kind of move in and out as well, so that you can have a little closer look. So, for example, here's R2 having a little chat, but on the back, you've got some little secret bits that are hidden away back there. But I can't really show you now, I'm afraid. What else comes out easily that I could show on the video? There you go, there's a nice little control space for the Imperial gunners. But yeah, it took, I'm never going to get it. Yep, lovely, perfect. Oh, this is a nice little play feature as well. This platform comes out, so you don't have to have Luke swinging up there. You can have people on the platform instead. For that, the Emperor's throne room was really good, fun build. It's very, very reminiscent. It's very close to the set that came out a few years ago, which was the throne room, and you could build the throne room. I enjoyed that. One of the things I find quite challenging with things like this is getting that spacing perfect so it looks nice. But I think it wasn't too bad. What else shall I tell you? It took about 20 hours. I kind of was trying to keep a timer on. There were a couple of points where I forgot to put the timer on, and there were a couple of points where I forgot to turn the timer off. But I think about 19 and a half, 20 hours. So I place bricks quite quickly. I'm about 450 an hour, depending upon what I'm building, of course. But yeah, so it was about roughly 20 hours, just short of 20 hours, I think. Luckily, I had a week off work, so I used a lot of that time. Does mean I'm slightly behind on all the other videos I was going to do for you, but obviously this was an incredibly generous gift in support of my channel, so it was wonderful to receive and to build. Had a lot of fun with it, and had some help with the kit from the kids as well, who really enjoyed building bits and pieces, but more than that, they enjoy setting up the scenes and playing with the people and all of that kind of stuff like that. So talking about value, obviously I can't give a lot of input because it was, like I say, it was a gift. So for me, looking at the price per piece, it's actually very reasonable for a Star Wars set. I think it comes out somewhere around 10 pence per piece, which for a Star Wars set is incredible, particularly with the quantity of minifigs, because there are a lot of minifigs. So we've got 3 versions of Luke Skywalker. So we've got him in his Tatooine clothes, we've got him in his Stormtrooper uniform, and we've got him in his Return of the Jedi, with, like I said before, with the Black Hand. You've got Han Solo twice, with one in Stormtrooper uniform, one in his regular clothes. There are 5 Stormtroopers, or 6 if you count the guy who's in his bathing suit, a number of other kind of Imperial officers of varying different ranks. You've got the meeting room is populated with all the right people, yeah, and then you've sort of got one of everybody else, including a couple of nice Imperial droids as well as our Rebel droids. So I'll probably just let you see all the rest of the images now, but if you'd like to support the channel, you don't have to send me a Death Star. Just share stuff with other people that you think might be interested, or a like and subscribe is of course appreciated, much as I hate to be a cliche like that, because it'd be nice if other people sent me Lego, but fundamentally it'd be nice if you shared it with the rest of the world. I think that was all I wanted to say really for now. I suppose it's worth saying that there were 81 bags in it. There were 3 big boxes. There were 6 instruction manuals, a massive sticker sheet, which was unfortunate, but just kind of inevitable. There's quite a few printed bricks as well, which was quite nice. Like these lit pieces are really nice printed pieces, but for the most part it's stickers, which is a shame, but kind of, you have to take that, don't you? Yeah, that's it from me. Until next time, keep building.